Hello, I'm Jim Tolles. I'm a spiritual teacher. I blog at spiritualawakeningprocess.com, and I share videos here on my Jim Tolles YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about why spirituality is critical in turbulent times. Before I get going into this topic, just want to remind you I have links down below this video and a way that you can sign up for a free newsletter or donate if you want to support this work. Feel free to check out all those after this video. When I talk about spirituality, I'm not talking about having faith that things will get better. In fact, when I talk about spirituality, what I'm talking about is having the courage to look at things as they are. And a lot of times we don't want to do that. We like our fantasies, whatever those fantasies may be, that tell us that life is going a certain way. For many people, they want to have an optimistic outlook, but it comes from a place of naivete, of saying, well, things will just eventually get better. Society is a construct, and society can go in any different direction. That's why certain lessons with the Holocaust and other totalitarian regimes are really important, particularly in light of some of the changes going on today, that we can go back to that stuff. We can go back there because when people are scared, they are easy to manipulate. That fear is powerful. And people don't like their fear, and they want that to go away. And if somebody comes and says, hey, I'll fix it, or hey, it's this other group of people's fault, let's blame them, let's do something about them. When people are really scared because things are changing so much, more and more people kind of go to that and say, yeah, it is those other people's fault, because we like to externalize our problems, we like to externalize our fear. And we can do terrible things. So one of the reasons that spirituality is so important in turbulent times is that we need to face our own fears so we can't be manipulated in this way. If we become masters of our own fear, other people cannot master us. They can do things to our bodies, but they can't make us change the way we feel about ourselves. And that's a great deal of power. And it's a power most people don't have, but that's part of the gift of the spiritual path. Now, the spiritual path, when I'm talking about the path to freedom, not the path to endless safety or happiness or to fix every problem in yourself or in the world. No, we're talking about the freedom within ourselves. And it's a freedom that allows us to make choices over our emotional states rather than be told by our unconscious ego programming that we should be scared, or we should be worried, we should want this, we should not want that. And it does all this stuff so constantly that we don't even recognize it. And then, as I said, we like to externalize. We like to look to the external world to comfort us or to tell us who we are or to do whatever. And there are plenty of people that are happy to do that for you. Just follow my way of thinking. Just do that. It's like I'm not actually asking you to follow my way of thinking. I'm encouraging you to look within, and I have some tools to help you do so. You don't have to believe what I say. But you do have to challenge your own ego assumptions if you want to see the truth. Because if any of your beliefs are actually based on truth, then when you challenge them, they hold up. We can talk about gravity right now. We can challenge gravity right now. I could take any item in my little office space right now and drop it, and it will fall at essentially 9.8 meters per second squared. But we can challenge it. So in that way, when we say we believe in gravity, what we're saying is we're trusting what observations by many people have shown us. And that's okay. But there's a lot of other things that when you challenge them, they start to fall apart, or you have to have more beliefs to back up the first belief. And anytime you get into that sort of chain, you're getting into some unstable ground. Coming back to ourselves, we see things as they are, not as we want. And there are legitimate problems in today's world. There are a couple of kinds of migration. One is kind of a chosen migration from rural communities to more and more urban cities. And that's been going on for decades. And it's creating certain pressures on rural communities, some of which are fading away, and more pressures on urban communities to grow and keep up with all the people that want to live in a city. We have climate change. That is a very real problem. And there are major changes that our societies are all going to have to make to deal with that. There's technology and how it keeps changing how we even interact with each other, and how we keep up with that and try to figure out what we want to engage with and what we don't, and what we're going to now have to because everybody else is now doing it. So if you want to find a job, you don't really go to the newspaper anymore, do you? You basically have to go online in a lot of situations and places around the world. So there's many, many big changes going on, and it can overwhelm us at times. Some of that overwhelm is the ego. It's just unable to process it, and it's trying to apply its old beliefs to these new situations. And some of it is our fear trigger, like that fear of the unknown. When things are new and changing, a part of us says, like, this is scary. It puts us on alert, puts us on edge. And so dissolving things like the fear of the unknown, which is not the first fear we're going to dissolve because it's a more basic, deeper one. There are usually other ones that we get to first. But getting to that place and finding more freedom from it is very powerful, very important, so we can make intelligent decisions in these turbulent times. And turbulent times will come and go. So even if we hit a quieter swath of society kind of settling down for a while, then it'll kick up again because it just seems to be human nature. But again, I have to come back to this point, is we can't expect the external world to make us happy. We can't expect the external world to be safe all the time. Things are going to change there, but how we respond to it, that's something where we can have, as I said, that kind of mastery of knowing ourselves, to be able to say, hey, something is changing. And when an ego trigger comes up, we can watch it, because they're not going to immediately go away. They go away over time, and then you just don't realize you're not having a trigger. But a lot of times we're going to watch our triggers, watch those fears kind of rise up, and then we just stay in that space of awareness to say, like, I know what's real. And right now, this ego fear, that's real, but it is just biochemistry. And if I watch it as opposed to believe in it, it will go away. And as that goes away, that filter that it kind of creates whenever we're scared, the fear lens is very, very much a distorting lens to look through. We don't see things particularly well when we're scared. But as that lens, that fear drops away, then you see more of what's going on in front of you and say, okay, this is how I want to deal with this. This is how I'm going to think about that. And a certain kind of rationality that goes away when we're overly lost in our emotions and overly triggered, that comes back. And now we can think well again. And that, to me, is what the path to spiritual freedom offers. One of many things it offers is the ability to think clearly. But so long as we're lost in our ego and all of our assumptions and all of our beliefs, we can't think clearly. We can think there aren't any problems when there are. We can overreact to problems when we do see them because we've been busy ignoring them. And anytime you ignore a problem for a few years or a few decades, it's going to get worse, in the same way that if there's a little fire outside that just starts in the grass, you just dump a cup of water on it and you're done. But if you ignore it for a while, now you've got a full-on wildfire blaze going on. So in another way, the practicality of seeing reality allows us to deal with smaller issues before they become bigger and more turbulent. The spiritual path makes us very rational beings. It's not about blind faith or hoping things will just get better. It's about looking within to deal with ourselves. And when we can deal with ourselves and our own fears, we can much more responsibly and intelligently deal with the changes and the ups and downs that go on in the world around us. I hope these words have been helpful. Once again, there are some more resources down below. Feel free to check them out. Thanks, and have a beautiful day.